Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this webinar on Beyond Student Membership, where we'll be talking to you about what comes next after your student membership. So thanks very much for joining us today. Now, we're aware that there will be a number of you watching this on demand in the future, so hello to you as well. We will have time for a Q&A at the end, but if you have any questions throughout, then please feel free to start using the Q&A box. There will be some interaction through this with polls and asking you to put some things in the chat, so please do engage if you can. So the first thing we're going to do is just go to some introductions so you know who we've got today. So my name is Charlotte and I work in the education team at IOSH, where I do sessions such as this to help students through their member journey and with employability support. And I'm also really delighted to be joined today by Kemi, who I will just ask to introduce herself, who's representing our volunteers today.
Okay,
Hi,
thanks,
Kemi.
Charlotte. My name is Oluwakemi Arumusori. I work in the maritime industry as the HSE manager for Papua Integrated Services Limited. I also volunteer for IOSH in the education committee, and I'm also the vice chair for IOSH West Africa. Thank you. Over to you, Charlotte.
Thanks, Kimmy. As you can see, she's a wonderful advocate for IOSH, and we're really grateful to have her today. And I also have my colleague Matt in the chat, who will be on hand to help us with any links or additional questions. So, if you're at this webinar today, or if you're watching in the future, it's likely that you fall into these categories. Either you're a student member and you're ready to upgrade your IOSH membership, or perhaps you're coming to the end of your studies, you're not really sure what you want to do next. And it is quite possible as well that perhaps we have some either non-members or affiliate or technical members on the call today who want to know more about the member grades and chartered journey. You are all welcome here today, and hopefully by the end of this session, it will have brought it all to life for you a bit more, and you'll be able to decide what you want to do next. So here is what we'll be covering today. We'll be looking at why people stay with professional bodies after their studies and the benefits of upgrading. We'll be talking you through your next potential member grade. Obviously, we've got Kemi, who will give us a bit of give us her insights throughout the session, really, and also we'll have a section towards the end around her journey with IOSH. And then we'll tell you the practical steps to upgrade or your membership or move to your next member grade, and then our Q&A session. So I always think it's really important when we're talking about IOSH students to address who's in the room and also just talk about the really diverse and broad group we have in this member category. So we have got students across the world in over 130 countries at 57 different institutions, awarding organisations or apprenticeship schemes. We have some people who are doing vocational type qualifications, who are perhaps doing them alongside work or their family commitments. We have apprenticeships, such as the level 3 apprenticeship in England. And we also have international students, UK-based students, all across the world who are studying either undergraduate or postgraduate taught qualifications at university. It's really diverse in age as well. Our youngest student is just 16 years old. That's our youngest student member. And the eldest is 64. So a lot of people dedicated to lifelong learning and also people who are career changing. So what we're going to do is just launch a poll to see who we've got with us today. And it would be really nice for you if you could to just maybe comment in the chat who you are, where in the world you are, and what you're studying. So you should, in a moment, see a poll pop up on the screen that just asks you which of these categories you kind of fall into. Or if you don't, again, please use the chat and we'll see who's here. So I'm going to keep my eye on the chat. And I won't answer the question. See who we've got. And hopefully the answers are coming in thick and fast. I could tell from the pre-session sign-up list that we had a real mixture of people who were doing the different sets of qualifications. So let's have a look. Interesting. So we've got a lot of people studying a vocational qualification. We've got university as well, and I can already see some names that I recognize popping up in the chat. So thank you everyone for joining us today. And what we will do today is talk about the different routes of membership for you, so everyone knows what they can do. So you might be wondering, I've been a member of IOSH as a student. I've seen what IOSH has to offer. What should I do now? Why should I stay with IOSH? And really, when we look at professional body membership, there are I've observed these three main drivers for people wanting to stay with their professional body. So the first thing that we've got is people really looking for that professional development angle. So these are students who are really dedicated to their own personal development, and they want to access things such as resources, specialist knowledge, and mentoring. We also have our very sociable and very engaged individuals who want opportunities to volunteer with IOSH, who want to work maybe in their local community or maybe influence at a higher level in, say, our council or presidential team. And then we also have our kind of career advances. They're really looking for opportunities to climb the membership ladders, to climb the career ladder, and they are looking to access post-nominals, which we'll talk about today, and also career-based materials, and their ultimate goal is to get to chartered membership. So you might see yourself reflected in some of these categories, and that might be some of the reasons why you would want to upgrade your membership. The key point being here is that these all represent our IOSH member benefits. And as you can see from the next slide, you will have had access to some member benefits already. However, you'll look towards different member benefits or shift to a different perspective when you move into your next member grade. So while you were a student, it's likely that you accessed some of these member benefits. And if you see any in the chat that you've used, or sorry, if you see any on the screen that you've used already and that you enjoyed, then please put them in the chat so we know. The first one is the student member bursary, where you could apply to 250 for £250 to support you in your professional development alongside your studies. We also have Student Connect, which is the monthly newsletter that we put together so that you can keep to date with all things at IOSH. We have IOSH Magazine, which I know many students enjoy, and from focus groups, I know that a lot of people like to receive the hard copy. We also have the Career Hub, which is our online employability platform where people can log in to improve work-based skills, technical skills around things like the Microsoft Office package, or they can work on, for example, writing. And then we also have the Future Leaders community, which is our volunteer group for members who are in the student membership category, who have been in occupational safety and health for 5 or less years, and then also people who are under the age of 35. So having a look in the chat, I can see that we've had people oh, that's really good to see. We've had people on board who have received the student bursary. That's one of the best parts of my job, is being able to administer that bursary. IOSH magazine as well. That doesn't surprise me. Even I read the magazine, and I'm an education professional as opposed to an OSH professional. So I do think it's very readable. So apart from the student bursary and the Student Connect newsletter, you will retain access to a lot of those all-important benefits that we can see on the screen. And obviously there is a huge amount to choose from, and we will talk a bit more about some of these. But I thought I would just ask Kemi if there's any particular benefit that you've enjoyed or that you found really useful, or that you'd like to recommend for people in the chat.
Okay, thank you, Charlotte. The networking and events has been very useful. In 2023, I was opportune to go to Ghana for the IOSH West Africa conference, which as a volunteer, IOSH even sponsored my trip to Ghana, and that was an interesting one. I also met a lot of people, and it was good to even meet the IOSH president, Jim, in that conference. So networking has really helped me to grow my career. to where I am today. And I've always read the IOSH magazine. Anytime they send it, I take my time to read it. Even this morning, I received another today, which I'm going to also digest that much later. And for the mentoring platform, so it's been a good one. The blueprint, looking at last year when they launched that blueprint it has been a game changer for me because on the blueprint it has about 1,326 resources. So for me, IOSH just wants us to continue to study and continue to improve in our career. And the blueprint, because they have three sections. It has the CPD resource library. It also has the PDP, which is my personal development plan, which I've used very well. And of course, the continuous professional development records too. So once I attend meetings, once I go for conferences or on my job, I go into the blueprint to just update my details there. And in fact, so many benefits I've gained from IOSH. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. No, thanks, Kemi. And I think we will talk about Blueprint later because that is something that we do get lots of questions about. So I'm glad you've mentioned it now. So as you're moving into the next membership category for you that we'll look at in a moment, there might be some new benefits or different benefits that you want to have a look at. So the first one that we've mentioned is the post nominals, and they are the letters that you get after your name when you unlock a higher level of membership. There's the continuing professional development record, CPD, that we'll talk about today. There is Blueprint that Kemi's introduced, which is a relatively new member benefit in recent years, and we'll talk through that later. The all-important route to chartered status, and this is one of the things that students ask me about a lot at university or college presentations, as well as just in sessions like this. And then finally, we are also going to talk about volunteering opportunities for those of you who want to get involved. So here comes the technical part. So I hope everyone has got a drink and is sat down. I'm going to do my best to describe the process for you. So if you have been a student member of IOSH, when you complete your studies, there are 3 levels for you to go into. If you go into affiliate membership, it means that you have done an accredited qualification in health and safety. However, you've got less than a year's worth of OSH experience. And so really it's for people who are new or career changing into the profession. If you are looking to go into technical membership of IOSH, this is normally for people who have already worked for a while in OSH, at least a year's experience, and you have a qualification that's between level 3 and 5, and we use the European qualifications framework to sort this out. So this might be something like a level 3 certificate, a level 3 NVQ, for example, and the next stage above that is certified membership of IOSH. And this is when we're looking at level 6 and above. And so this will be something like a university degree, a level 6 diploma, for example. So it's that higher level of qualification, and you would need at least 2 years experience work in health and safety as well. Now you'll notice that I've put an asterisk next to those 2 levels of membership that have post nominals or the letters after them. And that is because for those member grades, we ask you to do mandatory CPD, which you may have heard about and we will talk about today. So I've mentioned post nominals a few times and you probably have seen them, but maybe don't know what they are. So when you become technical or higher, you unlock these post nominals. They are letters that are placed after a person's name, and they're a quick way to indicate that an individual holds a particular membership with a professional body. You might also see people put their qualification afterwards, so MSc or PhD, for example. So it's a quick way to tell the reader of your status. So with IOSH post-nominals, you are saying, here is my experience and my qualification level. You've demonstrated that you're committed to maintaining your CPD. And you've also aligned yourself with IOSH's global standards and the code of conduct. So things like integrity, respect, service, and competence. So it's really important to individuals when they get their post-nominals to put them on things like their LinkedIn account, their CV. But actually, within IOSH, we're really grateful for you doing this because what it does is it positively impacts the standards, IOSH standards within the profession. So when you showcase your post-nominal, it increases our profile and reach as well, which really helps us with our charitable responsibilities because we can make the world a safe and healthier place by raising those standards. So you are flying the flag for occupational safety and health when you use those post nominals. So a lot of you have asked in the pre-session questions about chartered membership and how you get there. So we're going to have a look now at chartered membership. Has anyone ever heard of chartered before in relation to different professions? For example, a chartered surveyor, a chartered accountant. I can't see anyone nodding, obviously, so perhaps give me a thumbs up or something in the chat. You may have heard it in relation to professions, and you might know someone will say, well, I want to get a chartered person to do this work for me. Essentially, we were issued a royal charter back in 2002 by the late Queen Elizabeth II in the UK, and this authorises us to set the standards for safety and health professionals in the public interest. So people want to attain that chartered membership because it's seen very much as the highest level, the highest professional standard within a profession. And it's an internationally recognised designation or title across a number of professions. Chartered membership tells your peers, excuse me, quite quickly that you have reached the highest professional standard when they see those letters and that title, and it also demonstrates, your commitment to the IOSH code of conduct, and that you've met the rigorous standards to get to that point. It's also really important to the public if they're looking for a person either through recruitment or consultancy, for example. Um, and it's really important at us at IOSH to celebrate the achievements of our members. So you'll quite often see that there's a bit of a fanfare and celebration when people make it to chartered as well. It's a journey, it's not something that can be done overnight. And there is a process called IPD that we will talk about in a moment. And before I do that, I thought I would just ask Kemi, what was it that motivated you to go to for chartership? What were you thinking of? What were you thinking of when you decided?
Thank you so much. Um, I started because of course I studied in the UK, University of Salford, safety, health, and environment. So after I graduated in 2014, I became grad IOSH, and as at then, I just had maybe one or two experience. I'd not gathered that required experience needed for me to process the charter, but I had to wait longer. But in 2019, I was motivated because I now had that experience I needed to apply for my chartered. And also, I just sent an email to IOSH that I would like to progress to being a chartered member, which I went through the electronic skill development portfolio based on my master's degree, and I did a peer review. So what triggered me to progress to being a chartered is I was confident with myself that I had the required experience to go for it. And today I'm proud because being a chartered member of IOSH has really helped me to grow, and the position as a manager, it has helped me in the organization where I work. So it's been a very good journey so far. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks, Kemi, for sharing that. And it's interesting to hear how it's helped you in your day-to-day work as well. So we will talk about the IPD process now that Kemi's just mentioned, which is the route that you currently take to get to chartered. I am aware that IPD sounds very similar to CPD, so we know. We'll bear that in mind. So I do, we do often get people say, "What's the difference between IPD and CPD?" Well, hopefully by the end of this session, you'll understand. So IPD stands for Initial Professional Development, and it's the process whereby certified members can progress to chartered membership. And there are two routes that you need to be aware of, and the route that you take will be determined by what qualification you have. So, if you've done a degree level qualification, an academic qualification at level 6 and above, so say an undergraduate or postgraduate qualification, then you've already proved that you have the academic skills, and we would ask you to complete something called the Electronic Skills Development Portfolio. However, if you've done more of an NVQ or scenario based assessment or portfolio style qualification, then you would need to do something called the electronic open assessment. So you've already proved that you have the practical knowledge, and we would just be looking for you to demonstrate the academic side. You get 2 years to complete this process, and when you have completed this part of the process, you will get a review of your CPD record, and we will talk about CPD in a moment. After this, you'll get invited for a peer review interview, which consists of giving a presentation to a panel of volunteers who are either chartered members or chartered fellows. So they've gone through the process just like you, and then you'll be answering a number of questions that are designed to assess your health and safety knowledge and your application of that knowledge. So after that, if it all goes well, then you will become a CM IOSH. So Kemi, I believe that you've just mentioned that you went through the skills development portfolio process. And how was the process, and how was your peer review interview?
Okay, for the ESDP, it took me about 6 to 7 months to achieve the six the 7 criteria, because there are about 7 criteria. So it took me about 6 to 7 months. So depending on um, the ESDP, one, there are different criteria. You have to look at it through the IDP to check, can you go through, because I did risk assessment and all. My peer review, I had to do like a presentation slide to give an overview of my career and talk about myself. And they just had to interview me on different sections based on my ESDP. So it was an interesting one. So like I said, I grew my career to where it is. So I could be able to answer the questions and even the ESDP. So it was a smooth one. And lo and behold, today it's emerged. So yeah,
Yeah.
though some people it takes them longer time. So depending on your level of experience that you have, that should determine if when you can be able to achieve it. Thank you.
Thanks, Kemi. And yeah, I think it's good to get that perspective on it, that you do get up to 2 years to complete it, and it is something that you do alongside your practice. So you can start to understand why people want to tackle it themselves and get to the finish line, and also why it sets a rigorous standard in the health and safety profession. So we're now coming to CPD. We have mentioned it a few times, and what we're going to do is run a poll now to see how people on the call feel about CPD, because some people know about it, some people don't. Some people have heard about it, but maybe don't know what it is. So if you could just answer the poll, and we will see what the results say. I'm looking forward to seeing the results on this one, because it varies whichever audience I have. Let's see. Here we go. So we've got a decent amount of people on the call who know about CPD and how to do it. And we've also got people who have heard about it but don't really know what it is. And we've got a very honest person who has never heard about it. And thank you for sharing. Hopefully this will help all of you. So quite simply, continuing professional development is a process where over time you reflect on your skills. So you self-assess, you think about what you're good at, what you're not so good at, and you plan a few key areas to improve. So maybe, you'd like to develop your understanding a bit more of risk assessment, or you want to improve your public speaking. So from there, after you've identified those gaps, you undertake some targeted activities to improve those gaps. You make sure to keep a record of everything that you've done so that you can demonstrate either to your manager, to your professional body, or even just for yourself, what you've achieved. And then from there, you reflect on what you did and you make a note of what you learned, and then you bring that into your practice. So you've helped improve those skills areas. Now, every professional body has some form of requirements, for their members to keep up to date. We want to encourage lifelong learning, and we want to make sure that everyone's skills stay fit for purpose, especially as the world of work changes. Now, at IOSH, we have a skills framework, a competency framework that we use to help health and safety professionals understand what skills they need to be a competent professional. So across these 12 different skill areas in these three sections, there are about 69 different competencies that we believe all IOSH members and all competent safety professionals need to develop. You can find the full version of this on our website, which details all the different competencies. So we ask members to become competent in all of those areas. Now, if this is something that you're interested in and you want to know more about, we did do a webinar on how to use self-assessment tools in your career, including the IOSH competency framework, and you can find that on YouTube. But there are also several webinars and recordings that have been done on the topic by colleagues and volunteers. So please head to YouTube if you want to have a bit more of an in-depth look at CPD. So in order to support members to be able to keep on top of their CPD and to structure it for them, we give them access to a tool called Blueprint. And this tool is mapped to all those competency areas we've just talked about. So you can log on and complete a self-assessment to see which areas that you can improve. You get a personal development plan. As you can see, those red boxes in the middle, you can select the areas where you'd like to improve your practice. And then from there, you can get linked to resources to help you in those areas. There's, over 1,300 resources available, and that number is growing. And so you can go and get linked to a particular piece of learning to help support that. What I'm going to do at this point is ask Kemi to come on and just let me know if there's any particular CPD that you've enjoyed recently, or how you keep on top of your CPD as an IOSH member alongside your working life.
Okay, thank you so much. I've constantly kept up on my CPD because, of course, I'm chartered. And with this new launch of Blueprints, it came with that it's only 30 hours in a year. And of course, if you don't do that, they're going to want your membership goes back to affiliates. So I try to, once I attend meetings in my branch or anywhere, I go back to my CPD portal and just update it. If I do like incident investigation at work, I go back there, I update, and it tells you the what, the when, the how, and how it's going to help in your future. So that's why this platform has really helped me, because it's like a constant learning phase for me. And the good thing is IOSH has actually put the different areas, the different development areas where you can even improve. So when I initially did the assessment, I had few areas, about 2 areas where I needed to improve on, and with the resources that was put on the platform, that's helped me to improve on those areas. Like I said, and I always say, learning is a continuous process. So don't stop learning, just keep learning. And whatever you learn, just go on the portal, updates, and it's going to help you. All right, thank you.
It's true. It's very much like keeping a professional diary, and I think there's something quite satisfying in being able to look back and see the learning activities that you could have completed in that time. So now that we've gone through the route to chartered membership and CPD, we're now going to sort of move into looking at those volunteering opportunities for people that are perhaps more sociable, looking for those advocate type roles where they get involved in their local community or at higher levels. So I can understand if this is something people are interested in, we're going to launch our final in-session poll of today, which is around volunteering. I'd really like to see how interested people are in volunteering, because it's something that I've noticed. It's in my time at IOSH, students have become, or people in the student member category, people learning, are getting more engaged with the idea of volunteering. Oh, I'm just looking in the chat. That's really good to hear, Rachel. And thanks for all the thumbs up, everyone. So yes, let's have a look and see how we are doing in terms of the interest in volunteering. We'll give it a little bit longer. Here we go. Okay, that's really good to hear. So we've got some people who are perhaps not interested or somewhere in the middle, and then we've got some people who are actually looking to get actively engaged in volunteering, which is really fantastic to hear, because volunteers are the absolute lifeblood of any professional body, and it's volunteers that help us. Volunteers and members mean that we can do what we do. So let's have a look at the different volunteering opportunities that you can get involved with as you're looking to get more involved with your membership. So the first thing you can do is you can become a mentor, and there's 3 different options for mentoring. The first one is regular mentoring, where you are a mentor to someone who's more junior, who's perhaps just started being a student, or they're new to the profession. We've also got reverse mentoring, which I'm a big fan of, when you are paired up with someone who's either maybe older, more senior, or further along in their career, and you essentially give them reverse mentoring on an area that perhaps they're not really in the know about. So it could be a new work trend or a new technology, and you're helping them to kind of improve their knowledge in that area. And then finally, we've got peer-to-peer mentoring, where you get paired up with someone who's at a similar stage to you. And it's not to say it's like group therapy, but it's a really good way for you to find someone who's on your level, and you can both take on challenges together and report back to each other. So I think that's a really nice version of mentoring that we introduced in the last year. Now, for people who know about the Future Leaders community, as I mentioned earlier, it's that kind of new and future leaders in the profession. We have a steering group, 24 people, who help to lobby IOSH for what they want to see from IOSH to support that group. They also do things like putting on podcasts and getting involved with webinars, writing opinion pieces, and quite often they're really looking at how to get more people to join the profession. Now, I believe that the nominations for those, that the kind of selection process for that is every 18 months, but if you keep an eye out, if you're in that community, you will get a contact. You get a notification when that window opens. And then if you want to be involved with future leaders, but you haven't got the time commitment to be on the steering group, then you can become a future leaders champion, which is where perhaps you focus on a couple of things you want to do quite often in your local community, to kind of fly the flag for the future leaders community. We also have our group committees. Our IOSH groups are focused on specialist areas. So it might be something like environmental waste management, it could be sports grounds and events, or it could be my personal favourite, theatre advisory group. And they are all led by a committee of members. So if you have a particular specialism that you're interested in, you could join that group and hopefully join the committee as well when the opportunity arises. We also have IOSH branches, and these are based in the community or within a particular region. So we have several historic ones across the UK, and then we have more new and emerging ones. So we've got the West Africa branch, which started off as the West Africa division, and got formally made into a branch. We've also got branches in Hong Kong, and in Singapore and UAE. So we've got a lot of different branches that you can get involved with, and there are roles such as chair, vice chair, just being a member of the committee or being involved in the communications of the committee. So there's lots of roles you can get involved with if you want to develop those soft skills, I would say. We then have our presidential team, which are sort of like the influencers of IOSH, I like to say. They are ambassadors for our strategy and they represent IOSH around the world. And finally, we have a very important group, which is the council. And these are volunteers that have dedicated themselves to representing all IOSH members to IOSH and our board of trustees. So they're very important in making sure that the voice of the membership is heard by IOSH. And as I've mentioned earlier, we're really lucky to be joined by Kemi today, who I would just ask to talk a little bit about her experience of being a volunteer and any insights and encouragement that she might want to give you. So thanks, Kemi.
Thank you. Oh, I've had good experience because I've always volunteered for IOSH West Africa when it started as IOSH West Africa division, and now we are a branch. So I've been I've been volunteering for that long, and I will continue to volunteer for IOSH because one, I've learned a lot of soft skills. Of course, because part of our role that we do as volunteers, for example, I'm the vice chair of IOSH West Africa. We organize events. We organize like the picture you see. That was the IOSH West Africa conference that was held in Ghana. So I was part of the organizing team. I was okay. Just beside Alan. So I'm the one beside Alan. So that event was great. So we get to organize, and every day we meet new people. We try to support by campaigning, by sending our posters. Of course, if you even check our page on LinkedIn, you see a lot of flyers that we send when we have meetings. Or tomorrow now we have a section that IOSH is organizing for us in West Africa. It's the blueprints, how to use the blueprint. So if you're on this call and you have not registered, you can just go on the IOSH West Africa LinkedIn page. You see the link to register and just join that section. And also, we ensure that committee members and network members are kept up to date with news, points of interest, and developments within IOSH. So once we get any information from IOSH, it's been communicated and cascaded during our meetings. And of course, there are key contacts to contact when you need any information concerning IOSH, especially if you're in West Africa and you also like to be a member of IOSH. You can just either send us an email by West Africa email, or just contact us on LinkedIn. So there'll be someone that will definitely respond to you. So we try to promote the development of the network by meeting the needs of members and other stakeholders. So there was a time like that for, of course, our region. We had issues when we want to renew our membership pin because of the bank this in which we discussed that, and IOSH is working on that. And also there are a lot to learn. We do technical meetings. We do like maybe try to go for a field trip or something. So we have done that. There was a time we went to a field. It's like a plane, whatever, not the airport, but I can't remember the name of the company now. So we do field trip, and also so we try to encourage our members to just try to collaborate with us and we give feedbacks. So for me, being the IOSH chair, the vice chair rather, it has really helped me to grow my career because before I used to be very shy, but now I get to speak. I get to speak all the time. I get to stand in front of people all the time. And for me, it has helped me to be a better and grow my career to where it is today. So all thanks to being a volunteer for IOSH. So if you're not yet, if you're not thinking, because I saw the poll that someone was like not interested, trust me, if you want to be a better person, you want to grow your career to that height you want it to get to, just volunteer for IOSH. And what you need to what when volunteer, it's of course it's not a paid job. So that means what you need to be consistent in what you do. You need to what be patient. You need to just be patient because don't look at it that oh after all, I have a paid job that because as I'm talking to you now, I'm currently at work, but of course, this is part of my volunteer role that I'm doing for IOSH. So I'm here today trying to speak with you. So it's very, very important for you to go in that line of being a volunteer because it will really help you to really help you to be a better person, grow your career. Of course, if you can't speak in public, it's going to help you shape how you can speak in public and one key thing, networking. And of course, you meet people that want to mentor because being a volunteer, you definitely mentor people. I've had times where I've mentored people. I can see Abanom is on this call. We've spoken severally and all that. So, and of course, there is one of my mentees who is on this call, Opeyemi Olarinde. He's currently in the UK, just finished his master's degree in the UK. So even when he was doing his um, dissertation for his master's degree, he still contacted me and I gave him one or two advice. So being a volunteer, you're constantly learning. You're constantly out there. You understand? So you're going to get to mentor people. And of course, as I'm here, I also have mentors too. So I'm a mentee too. So if you go on the IOSH mentorship platform, I'm a mentee. I've never applied to be a mentor on that platform, but I mentor a lot of people. So it's a good thing if you are thinking of being a volunteer. At the moment, IOSH West Africa, there's a role open now for committee members. So if maybe you're from IOSH West Africa or your membership is in IOSH West Africa and you like to volunteer for IOSH West Africa, that role is currently open. It's a committee member. So you just need to go on the IOSH website and click on IOSH West Africa and it tells you the role that is open. So try and apply and we are willing to welcome as many of you to our committee platform. So thank you. Over to you, Charlotte.
Thank you. That was a very good plug there for the West Africa branch opportunity. So thank you very much for that. And yes, I think it's really important to note just how many people have already made friends and relationships for life from the massive network of IOSH members. I mean, you know, even as a staff member at IOSH, you get to connect with people across branches through the UK and across the world. You know, educators, leaders, new entrants to the profession, and it is incredible networking opportunities. So thank you so much for bringing some life to that, Kemi. So as we're moving towards the end of the session before our Q&A, I thought it would be useful to just go through the three key things, the three key stages of how to progress from student to your next member grade. And if anyone on the call is in a different member grade and looking to progress, then the principles are the same. So the first thing that we'd need you to do is submit your documents. So we need to have a CV from you and we need evidence of the qualification that you've taken and that you've successfully completed it. Because from there, our lovely internal professional assessment team will have a look through your paperwork to make sure that your qualification meets the criteria for the member grades that we talked about earlier. They'll also make sure that you passed the qualification, and they'll be looking to see if there were any, particular modules or learning that was part of the qualification that we needed you to have completed. And then finally, they'll also be having a look at your CV for the career experience to make sure that you meet that experience criteria as well. And from there, you will be asked to pay your membership fee, and then you get put through for upgrade. So you can probably imagine, as a charity with a royal charter, we have some rules to follow. And this means that we have specific requirements for the documentation that I just mentioned. So when we receive a confirmation that you've completed your qualification, we need to make sure it has your name, the name of the qualification, and when you completed it, and it has to show that you successfully completed it. Things that we cannot accept are emails from email addresses from people on your course. We would need it to be something more formal, which I'll talk about in a moment. We also can't accept just a screenshot saying this course is complete. We can't have an expired student card, for example. Student cards in general don't really have the information we need and aren't a kind of authoritative document. We normally can't accept provisional certificates. If you're having any problems with getting one that doesn't say provisional, though, we can work with you to figure that out. And then finally, documents that are not in English, we would not be able to accept. Things that we can accept are official qualification certificates, official transcript of marks, and for example, with an official letter on official letter-headed paper from your education provider, whether that's from your university or from your awarding organization provider, but it has to be official rather than written down on a bit of paper and posted to us. In terms of payment options for your membership, we do have a special offer for student membership. When you joined, it cost £15, and at the point of renewal, so say for example you were going for Tech IOSH, you would pay the renewal fee only. So you can see the total on the screen there. However, the standard joining process is slightly more, and this is why we always encourage people to become a student member as soon as possible when they're studying, because they can take advantage of that discount. However, we do have a lot of support available for people with their membership fees. We have concessionary rates, and this is for things like parental leave. If you're on a low wage, if you are unemployed, in ill health, or even retired, there are reduced concessionary rates available. It's also worth mentioning that a lot of employers will cover the cost of a professional body subscription, so it's always worth asking your employer as well and having that conversation with them. So before we go into Q&A, just a note on extensions, because in this post-COVID world, we do have a lot of people who took study breaks or who extended their studies. And we know that for qualifications, for example, like NEBOSH, you can have many years to complete it, and you set your own time frame. So if this is the case and you want to extend your studies, soon, then the first thing to do is make sure that you know when your new qualification end date is. Get official confirmation from your qualification tutor or provider. Email it to us to studentmembership@iosh.com and let us have a copy of that letter, and then we can extend your student membership to your new end date. So if you are extending and your student membership is about to come to an end, do not worry, we can help support you through that stage. So what I'll do now is we'll have a look at the Q&A. I'll open up the Q&A box, and it looks like we have had Matt very active in the Q&A. So thank you very much, Matt. So let's have a look through. And if you've got any questions now, please feel free to start adding them in the Q&A. So we've asked if student membership has got post-nominals, and yes, there are no post-nominals attached to student membership, which is also why you don't have to do any mandatory CPD record keeping. This is fantastic. Looking through the Q&A, Matt has done my job for me. So yes, the 2-year time frame applies to those enrolled on IPD. So it's the amount of time you get given to do the assessment. Thank you for that one. Can a student be a mentor? Please do, because mentoring, as Matt says, is just such a good way to give back, and also will get you some experience as well. How can one get access to the podcast? Yes, ioshmagazine.com, a fantastic resource. So Amy, the student membership is £15 that you pay once when you join, and then when you complete, that's when you pay your renewal fee to get into your next grade. So it is a deal that we've managed to secure for students where you pay £15 once when you first join. Hopefully that helps. Amy, you can always be an eager beaver. We encourage that. Can you have other safety and health professional memberships? Of course you can. We quite often have a lot of the qualifications that we accredit actually often have dual accreditation, or we have people who are members of several professional bodies at once. So if that's something that works for you, 100% go for it. Let's have a look. As an MSc student, does it mean I have to graduate first before applying for Tech IOSH? That is correct. If you're currently a student member completing your qualification, we would need you to have confirmation that you'd completed a qualification before you went to either Tech IOSH or Cert IOSH, depending on the level of experience that you have. Have a look through, see if there's any questions for Kemi.
Hello, there are questions in the chat room.
Say again, Kemi.
I said there are questions in the chat room.
Oh, yes. Let's have a look. Is it a must to have had prior experience in health and safety before one can change from student to the next level? No. If you've got no experience in health and safety, you can go into affiliate membership as you build your experience, and you can use the member benefits to help you find opportunities to improve your experience. If you've got up to a year's worth, you can go into tech. So what would happen is if you've had health and safety experience before, our professional assessment team will have a look to see what that experience looks like, and they'll help map you to your relevant grade. We next have a question here. NEBOSH level certificate, considering to roll in the diploma, can I join student membership while I'm enrolled? If you're doing a qualification and you've not been a member of IOSH before and you're about to study, you can go in at student membership level. If you've got a previous qualification, that won't stop you from going into student membership. So the way to do that is by going onto the website and going on to become a member, and then you'll be able to see how to join as a student. It's just a simple online form. I'll look back through. I've got a question here from an anonymous attendee about IOSH membership, whether or not it's enough to secure a job, and that a lot of companies have got essential requirements for qualifications such as NEBOSH in their job description. I think it's really important for IOSH members and for anyone who's looking for a job in occupational safety and health to be able to communicate their skills and experience. So say, for example, you are going for a job that says it needs a level 3 certificate, but you've done, for example, a level 3 apprenticeship, or maybe you've even done a degree level qualification. It's really important that you're comfortable to challenge the employer and say, these are the qualifications I have, and this is what they are in relation to the ones you're asking for. And that's why I think I'd be a good fit for the role. So I think IOSH membership on its own is kind of like a gym membership. If you don't engage a lot with it and you don't understand how to use all the benefits or the equipment, if you will, then you won't get the most out of it. But if you're able to explain to someone in a job application process what it means, the qualifications and experience you have, then that will definitely help you. And there is this idea that a lot of job opportunities arise from networking, and that there's a networking gap where a lot of job opportunities don't become available, don't end up on a website, for example, because they've been fulfilled within internal networks. So it's really important that you network as much as possible to maximize those opportunities. Have a look through the questions, see if we've got any more. Kemi, have you got anything that you'd like to reply to or anything you'd like to add?
Yes, the question from Olaide, it says, what if I do the CPD while on student membership? Will it count for my set IOSH? Have you seen the question?
Oh yes, I see what you mean. What if I do the CPD while on student membership? Will it count for my cert IOSH? That is a good question. So when you're rephrase it. When you're upgrading to cert IOSH, what they'll be looking for is the level of qualification and experience. And from then on, your CPD becomes mandatory. However, if you were to start looking at that chartered process straight away, it's important that you've got a CPD record that's up to date. So, whilst it's not a requirement to have a CPD record to move into the cert IOSH category, we really encourage you to start recording it as soon as possible, because it will really help you identify those areas where you can improve, and that will help you towards if you're looking to go to chartered status. New question. Can I add CPD from any source? 100%. So we have people ask a lot, what counts as CPD? Is CPD a training course that costs lots of money? No, CPD can be anywhere where you're learning. It can be you read a new article. It could be that you had a meeting with a specialist. It could be that you undertook some particular learning. So I think it's really important to know that CPD doesn't have to be a formal, training course. There's some guidance on our website about all the kinds of things that you can record as CPD. Maybe there was something in IOSH magazine that you read that really contributed to your skills and learning. So that's very much what it's for. And then we'll do this final question here. Can I go into chartered membership straight up without being a certified member? The answer is no. You'd need to be a certified member first to get into those routes. And I would advise you have a look at the professional journey information on our website so you can see the different routes to membership. So yeah, hopefully that's been helpful for you. So any questions that we've not had a chance to answer today, either from before the session or from after the session, we will get in contact with you following this session. I've got everyone's email if you've provided it when you signed up, so I can get in contact with you and answer any questions that were missed. We've just had webinar feedback pop up on the screen, and we'd love to hear your views. Thanks very much to everyone who's putting messages in the chat. It's been really nice to see some familiar names, and thanks everyone for tuning in. And I think I just want to finish off by saying thank you very much to Matt and to Amir from the IOSH team who have been supporting this webinar. Matt has been voracious in the Q&A, and thank you very much to Kemi for joining us, especially as part of your volunteering time that you do alongside all of your other responsibilities. So thank you very much, Kemi. If you've got any questions for us after today, you can reach me on studentmembership@iosh.com. And as I said, we'll be in contact with you if you need any more support from us. So thanks, everyone. I hope you have a good rest of the day and good weekend, and we will finish there. So have a good rest of the day, everyone.